Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Tradesman Experience. This is the podcast built by tradesmen for tradesmen. My name is Josh, and across the table is, of course, the talent, Mr. Nate Newton. Nate, how are you, sir?
So you're being fucking talented, you know?
You just look talented.
Dude,
if talent had a look,
yeah,
it's
all in the beard.
Yeah.
It's got to be.
we're just still getting our asses kicked right now. So, there's light at the end of the tunnel, but we're in the shit. So hopefully we can get a lot of the stuff buttoned up and go do some money making shit before the snow hits too bad. But judging by the weather today, that's probably coming in sooner than anticipated.
Quite a front. I looked at the weather this morning and Saturday night up at my apartment. It's supposed to be 10 degrees.
Ooh, buddy. Yeah.
And I'm like, well, it's October still.
It was 70 on Monday.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Welcome to Nevada.
yeah, 'tis the season. High desert and the mountains, man. It's you never know. But several months ago, everybody knows Sunny. Sunny's been on here. Probably going to be on here again. And she made a recommendation to me that there's some young guys in the valley that have kind of started their own business and are licensed contractors, and I think that's important to our story tonight.
Yes.
Licensed contractors. And a few weeks ago, I finally made the effort, reached out, and we've got two of the guys in the studio tonight. We actually have another one next week that's coming in here. And what I'm hoping, Nate, this conversation gives us tonight is hope of the next generation.
I am struggling with that right now. So yeah,
Pressure's on.
Yeah. So
We're carrying it, man.
Yeah.
well, and I'm I think it's important to the listeners. This is the first time that we have met and spoke. So there's going to be things introduced to Nate and I tonight as new as it is everybody else, but I'm excited to hear your guys' story. So just kind of tell us who you are, what you do, and whoever wants to go first, introduce yourselves.
You want me to start? Okay.
Go ahead.
It's Nathan.
Ooh, strong name.
Yeah.
We're off to a good start.
The
Nathan,
talent,
not just Nate.
the talent in lowercase. Okay,
Yeah.
here we go.
This is old town. This is new school right here. So my background, my family, we're all local. We came from Tahoe. My dad, he was a logger. His dad's dad was a logger, and I'd be considered probably a sixth generation forestry operator. They've all been falling timber, running skidders, loaders, taking care of the forests, and it wasn't until about 2 or 3 years ago I decided to hop into it myself. I was working at, like side jobs, started at Walmart, which trip, being where we are now. And then after that, I went to this warehouse job. I was building yacht sails for a little bit. That got lame. When you start doing a craft and it's worth millions and you're only getting paid a fraction of what it's worth, you get a little pissed off. So I left there and I found a trade that I thought I'd be into. It was tree climbing, and I was working with a local contractor, ran his own tree service. It was Joe Bonino. Good guy, does some cool stuff, and I learned from his crew, and it hit a point where I thought I could do it. And I spent a whole chunk of change on putting gear together to get up in the tree, and I told them, and they let me know it wouldn't be until 4 years until I'd be able to do it myself. And at that point, I was like, okay, this obviously isn't it for me. I consider myself a little bit of a go-getter, and I didn't want to be sitting around watching somebody else do it while I knew I could do it. And at that point, I had to separate from that crew, and that's when this dude kind of walked into my life. And I was like, you know what? This might be the man to start something with. Someone's solid when they come in the door covered in dirt. I was at my friend's house. Yeah.
Go tell that to the homeless population in San Francisco.
Right.
Solid crew right there.
So I'm at my buddy's house, and I'm sitting there, and for like a good couple months, I had this like premonition of doing something, making a company, starting something. And I was thinking tree service, doing tree work, trimming them up, dropping logs, the trees, of course. Beat
me to it.
And you can go at things alone, but you do it alone, there's a lot of weight on your back. And I knew I couldn't do it alone. So I'm sitting there and we're like watching football or something. And my buddy Devin comes in the door. They just got off work. Devin comes in and he's perfect clean. He probably wasn't even at work. Chris comes in, he's got some dirt on him, he's probably sitting in the tractor half the time. And then I see my partner here coming through the door, and every step this kid took, there was just dirt falling off of him. And I was like, I need to know more about you. And how did it start, man? Where did
how does
that
that conversation start? But like, you're dirty, get over here.
Yeah.
First of all, get out of my house.
See, he had no idea probably at the time that I was sitting on the couch scheming about starting something. Because I was just so fed up of being somebody's, honestly, little bitch, dude. Like, making somebody else money, not having a good time, and it sucked. And you get fed up to a point, and as soon as you hit that point, you decide, I'm going to do it for myself. And I chose him to bring into it, and now we're 50-50, and we tear it up, dude. Like, without him, I don't know where we'd be.
Well, it's like Josh always says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
Go together. Mm-hmm. Amen, dude. So there was he is dating my sister, so I'm also my sister's partner pretty much too, because she freaking says everything about any deal we got or anything on paper. She's always sitting there. And I started talking to him about it, and she's like, you know what? If you're doing this, I got to be part of it too. Not really, but he's in, so she's pretty much in.
She's involved.
She's involved.
Okay.
She's got some say. Yeah. But I started talking about, hey man, do you want to be my business partner? And he's like, yeah, let's see what we can do together. And I think from the start, there's a lot of ups and downs, but it's been pretty solid.
Yeah. I mean, originally, I was skeptical because
Do you want to introduce yourself real quick?
The man in dirt.
The dirty man in the corner.
I kind of like that title.
Yeah.
Just keep that. No.
He takes his pride in that, man.
Yeah. All right. Well, my name is Chance Smith. I'm from, Carson City itself. I was born here. I was raised here. Aside from a side venture for a couple years out in Dayton. Just spent a couple years there riding dirt bike as a 10-year-old kid. No big deal. But no, yeah. So I kind of grew up. It was a rough family life, but I relied on football heavily to take me far. And as senior year came, I got an injury with my shoulder. I delivered a hit, and I tore my rotator cuff in the third game of the year.
Ooh.
Played 7 more games on it because I was like, the player they relied on. Carson's not a good team in recent history.
I went to Douglas, so.
Yeah. I mean, you saw the score, last week is 35-0. Douglas beat them. All respect to them for sure. But, so as summer went on, I kind of didn't really have a plan. I was only going to go to college summer after graduation, that is. I was only going to go to college to play football. But, my offers were revoked from me after they heard about, severe nerve damage and such. So I didn't really have anything in mind that I wanted to do. Like, of course, every man has ambition within him, and every man wants to be great and succeed. But, everybody always tells you, like, you never really know what you're going to end up doing in life. So just kind of be ready for whatever. So my adoptive mother, bless her heart, but she ended up telling me one day at the end of summer, like, hey, you're either going to go to college or you're going to get the fuck out. And I was like, I'm not going to college, so I'm getting the fuck out. I left that day.
That was the mistake I made going to college.
Yeah, so I left that day and went and lived with my best friend, Devin, and I didn't have a job, so, I got to pay rent somehow. And my adoptive mom always told me in high school, like, I was always asking her, like, let me get a job. Like, I know I got practice, but I could fit it in. Mm-hmm. Like, I got homework, whatever. I'm like, I'm an honorable student. I could do that. She's like, no, football and school should be your priority. So I took that. And when I got out of high school, no job. I was like, hey, well, asking his mom, what can I do for work around here? Like, is there any jobs in the local area? And one of her friends happened to mention a landscaping company called Heart's Desire Landscaping.
Oh yeah, I've heard of them.
Yeah, Aaron Riley, he's a good guy. So they told me they were paying $14 an hour. It's like, damn, dude, I'm gonna be a millionaire. Let's do it. you could sign my soul away, dude. I'll do it. No, but I ended up working for him, and at first when I was working for him, I didn't really give a shit about anything. I was just a young guy. I didn't really have any goal in mind with landscaping. I mean, you look at landscaping from the outside, everybody kind of degrades the trade as it is, like even, because as an athlete, I told him that, it was like, I want to be building stuff. I don't want to do maintenance. I don't want to clean up people's yards. And because cleaning up people's yards, you don't feel too good about yourself, like as a man. It's not really like, it's kind of something you should already be fucking doing
Somebody else's chores for them.
Yeah, you're like, motherfucker, get to work. What are you doing?
Yeah,
get off your ass. But once he put me in the construction aspect of things, and I kind of started to take it more seriously, I just realized that there was going to be something that would come with this. And he ended up saying like, hey, I'm going to retire in a couple months, so you guys can either stay with me or you can figure out another job. The rumor was he was gonna, give the company away to his current foreman, but some stuff went down and he was no longer able to do so. And so, as a young guy and an ambitious man, I was like, shit, I'm next up. Let's do it. His son kind of hyped me up one day and was like, hey, I asked my dad, like, if he were to give up the company to anyone that's on the company right now, like, who would he give it up to? And he said me, but as the time kind of played out, I realized he's not going to give it up to anyone. He's selling everything. So told him like, hey man, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to go work somewhere else. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I just know my back hurt and I was tired of fucking landscaping. So I wanted to do something that didn't hurt my ass so much. So he hit me up with a job. Well, actually Devin, who we mentioned earlier, he had a job at North Sales with him.
Okay.
And I went over to North Sales and I worked there for 3 weeks and absolutely hated it. It was a sequence of events, let me tell you. He quit, I quit, and then Devin quit within 3 weeks. Sure. So I decided to take on carpentry for 5 months, and Nate came to me one day and kind of proposed the idea like, hey, I got all this money together. I kind of have a business scheme in mind, and I'm a tree faller. You're a landscaper. Do you want to do something with this? And of course you're skeptical when anyone.
It's the scariest move you can make, man.
Yeah, I grew up around degenerates, man, so it's like
somebody's gonna come along and fuck it up for you.
Yeah.
Kind of hesitation.
You don't really think of one of your peers like in a high standard when you're kind of going through, like, you're just a degenerate growing up. You don't think of your guys as like, oh yeah, these guys could be a business owner. So you're kind of skeptical at first, right, of everything. And you're kind of like, well, I'll kind of see how it goes. And you always throw out the idea. Well, I would like to start something on my own one day. Because everybody does. When you're in the trade.
I don't think everybody does.
I think
few.
As you go through the trade and you get in deep enough, like, yeah, there are some guys who are like, I don't really want to handle the business side of it. But if you are one of those guys, you kind of get that idea like, yeah, I do want to start something one day. But
well, I mean, at the age you guys are at that point, you're like, why the fuck not? Like, what do you got to lose?
Precisely.
Side note for the listeners, Chance was 19 and I was only 20 when things started getting going with the company.
Yeah, you ain't got shit at that point, right?
No,
Like,
you don't got nothing but
yeah,
honestly,
True.
nothing.
ego. That's
Ego,
about it.
yeah.
a little bit of pride in there,
Mhm.
But I was still working doing carpentry because I was like, well, I got rent to pay, like I don't have no one to rely on if everything fails. Like, it's on me. I don't got no, but I can't go home to mama, what I mean? Like, I can't do that. So I was like, well, I'm going to keep my job. And if we really start getting steady with work, like, I'll absolutely quit and I'll ride on everything. I'll go all in. But our first job, it was right down the street from the apartments I lived at. I lived at the apartments up behind Galaxy. And, it was just right there. I called out that day. We worked 10 hours. I hadn't done landscaping for a while, so I was hell out of shape. Like, no hate on carpenters, but they do not do that much physical labor as they think. Because I went out there and I landscaped for a day and almost threw up again. I was like, what the fuck? This is a whole different trade, absolutely. But, then we got that other large job with Jan and Ron, and it was, we were kind of writing up the numbers. It was looking like 12,000. I was like, well,
It was actually looking more like 20 or 30, but we needed the job bad.
yeah, it's like, well, shit, you see that?
I don't know.
like,
If it came up to
desperately.
20 or 30 and you went to 12, I've never seen a
Hey,
job that fucking
when you're
bad.
a bunch of rookies and you see 12 grand for your first time, you're like, okay, this might work.
Oh, we've made so much money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoa.
It actually cost us $6,000 to build it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, when you kind of are writing it out and we're only making $15 an hour and you were a foreman, it's
Mhm.
like you're like, shit.
Yeah, that sounds like back where I'm from.
Yeah.
And that's not.
That's Midwest
Yeah.
money. Yeah.
That's Midwest
and
money.
it's like I mean, it's probably just because I was young and I wasn't, he never was the type to, all respect to him, and I kind of do respect this about him. He was never the type to offer a raise. His whole ideology was like, you'll ask it when you think you're worth it. You know what I mean? Like at a certain point, you'll start understanding like, man, I'm worth more than this. And he likes to see that fire in you, that want, like, hey man, I'm learning more. I got a desire to do this. I think I deserve more. And he'll take you seriously and he'll give you that raise. So, I mean, I got one raise because I was like, $14 an hour is bullshit.
Mhm.
I need more. He's like, all right, here's another $1. I was like, nice.
A whole dollar.
80 more bucks on the
Yeah.
paycheck.
Yeah.
Let's go. But yeah, you see that and you're just like, man, I'm ready to commit because I understand how long that like this job is going to take. Even if I'm the only guy who knows to start, like eventually everyone's going to know what I know. And if I share the knowledge and, and I spread it correctly and teach them right, everyone that we end up bringing on, of course, we could really go far with this and we can get some shit done and make some good money and
Mhm.
we can all have a good life. And
Yeah.
so
That was the goal. It still is the goal. The start was weird just having two dudes doing all that work. It seemed like a month for a job like that was what it really took. But now we have a crew. We got 3-4 solid dudes where a job like that would have taken probably 2 weeks.
Mhm.
But at the start, when you just got two solid dudes who want to get something done, it might have taken a little bit longer, but it was the start, It was the
Yeah.
beginnings of something that is on it. It
Yep.
snowballed from there.
You gotta go. You gotta go through that. You gotta struggle like that
Yeah.
in the beginning.
The start was super scary. So I saved up a pretty good chunk of change, and the first thing we invested in was just a dump trailer. You got a dump trailer, you can go pretty far.
Dude, around here you can make
Yeah.
money with a dump trailer. Yeah.
That wasn't the first thing, actually. It was my grandmother's F-150 pickup truck. I commandeered that, and that was the start. The trailer came
big
later.
hauler.
We were doing sagebrush removal for like a couple $100. That was the first job. And then I was going around. We had these janky little business cards, man. It had our name, number, and too much on it. It was just an eyesore to look at. I went all through Carson. He was going through Carson, Gardnerville, just dropping them where we could. And I went through Tahoe. I was like, Tahoe, should I do it? I went up there one day, and it's funny because it wasn't even me that landed the job. My little cousin Lila Ellis was in the truck. Shout out to Lila. She's like, I'm going to walk over to this house, this little business card. She walked up, and somebody was in the window and started talking to her. And I was like, what's going on over there? I'm hiding in the truck. And she just started chatting these people up, this couple. And 2 days later, they called us for this project. And that was the job that took Sierra Timberscape. Well, actually, that's not our first name. It was Tahoe Timber and Land Management. Talk about a bad name.
It's a mouthful.
Yeah. But now we're Sierra Timberscape. That job was insane. So I was telling you about my climbing background. I was watching dudes climb, and I dabbled in it at the house, climbing small pinyon pines or like a small willow tree. And it was cool. I was figuring out the ropes until they called. They wanted to take out, it was 5. They're 170 feet. They're all 28-inch, 30-inch diameter Jeffrey pines, and they were only like 5 feet from the house. Yeah. So I was a little skeptical, but it's time to strap on the big boy boots and go to work. I decided we started a company. You can't just turn down the first job that comes that's actually worth something. And my background, like in the field of doing chainsaws and falling timber, is all from the ground level. My dad he put a chainsaw in my hands when I was 14. He was running one when he was like 8, But at 14, he was teaching me the basics of using the saw and just how to run it like a pro. And when Jan and Ron called, I was like, oh, I got this. This is going to be easy. I was up in that tree, man, and my legs were shaking. My palms were sweaty, dude. I got like 20 feet off the ground. I was like, dude, I'm going to puke. But my crew was down on the ground watching me. I was like, I can't back out now, dude. I climbed to the top of that sucker, and I was sectioning them out in 13-foot sections, falling them away from the house. And I got, the first day, I got one barely done. Trimmed. The second day,
we'll drop it tomorrow, guys.
Yeah.
I got to think about this.
A whole lot of thinking. The second day, I got that one down, and then I got the next one down, and then by the third day, dude, I was just flying, and I was like, you get a feel for it, and I had all the trees down, and dude, I felt like a badass, but the entire time I was scared shitless, that's for sure. And then that's when Chance came in with, okay, now we got the trees out, pulled the logs out. The next step was to put the pavers in, and that's where Chance's expertise came in. And at first, doing this whole like partner thing, I was like, well, I started everything, it's like, this is like majority of me, and I brought him in, so it's, should we do 50-50 or something? And I was like, we'll do 70-30. That's what it was at first. But after that job, dude, we put these pavers in, we built block walls, we planted the whole thing. This yard was just transformed. And I was like, what the hell? This dude's worth probably more than I am. So from that day forward, we've been 50-50 on this, and it's been a real journey for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
How long you guys been at it now?
2.5, 3 years.
Yeah, with the business, about almost 3 years now. I think next June is 3.
Have you guys been contractors this whole time, or
no?
About 2 years you've been contractors?
We'll be honest from the start. No.
Well, how old
us.
How old do you have to be in Nevada to get a contractor's license?
You have to have 4 years of experience. So, I mean, if you drop out at 15 and start working, you can get it by 19.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you start, there's things you could do to get it.
The thing
we're talking about all contractors follow the rules, and we make sure.
Right.
Well, Nevada's hard to get a license in. Nevada's a tough state to get licensed in. Yep.
Well, yeah, I mean,
especially compared to where I'm from. All you needed was a logo.
No, dude, just go to California.
Really?
Go to California, $500, and you can have an unlimited license and take on a multi-million-dollar high-rise
Really?
bid. Yeah, there's no qualifications. There's no bid limits. There's none of that shit.
I got to make a call and tell my girlfriend to pack our bags.
Yeah, yeah, but you live in California.
You're moving to
there goes all your money
California.
to taxes.
Fuck that.
Yeah.
Just for the winter months, keep it working.
See, that's actually true. So my timber operating license over there, it was a 2-day class in WIOP for through Cal Fire to become a licensed timber operator to do forestry operations. We were in that class for 1 day, and the guy was like, "Yep, you're good. You're good.
Yeah,
Just
sounds
go
about
home."
right. Yep.
Huh.
Yeah, they're a bunch of good old boys over there, though. And if you're going to that class, you know what you're doing. You're not just there like some random dude off the street. You're somebody who's coming in there with some experience, and that class was all the dudes in there knew what they were talking about. But it's getting a license for me was pretty easy.
So for me, I kind of, it was kind of hard as fuck. Honestly.
Did you go?
Chance
Did you guys
that
go?
went through it.
Did you guys go through the contractors?
Yeah.
That one that's over there by the airport.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went through there, because of Sunny. I mean, she hooked that up for sure. I would have just been sitting there, like literally.
You can't read those books. It's all legal jargon for the law side.
Let me tell
He
you.
read them front to back.
I mean, with the landscaping books, dude, like I literally got through, I'd say, I did every single book each night kind of for like an hour, and I had a separate, area in my notes, and everything I was reading that I just thought was important, I was just writing down. And then I get to the center after we finally were able to get our monetary limit, which, let me tell you, that's probably the hardest part, is being able to build enough revenue to have a bidding limit that you think that's your market. So we went, of course, since we have high ambition, we went for the highest bid limit. But
We had a couple connections help us.
yeah,
But how do you even get a bid limit in a state where you do a project, you can't even make more than $1,000 on it, and the job's obviously more than $1,000? It's kind of
Wasn't the initial bid like without providing financials, you can get
Yeah.
a $10,000 limit, right?
Yeah, that's like the minimum for a landscaper. The max you can get is 250 for the C10.
That's the max.
That's the max for just the landscaping portion. You can
Okay.
get like extensions onto it, and I'm
Mhm.
pretty sure it'll, extend the bid limit. What a lot of landscapers do too is they'll get like fencing licenses and concrete licenses to help them with their bid limits.
I know Clayton is going to call me as soon
Yeah.
as we get, if not before this part of
Yeah.
the interview, because he listens to this.
Yeah.
Clayton, I know you're listening, and I know you're probably going to call me. So
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah, but kind of get we got the monetary set up, and then we kind of didn't know where to go with workers' comp. Honestly, Sunny helped us with everything. If it wasn't for her, I would have.
yeah.
I was bothering the shit out of my old boss, Aaron, but
I was bothering the shit out of Sonny all the time. Sorry,
Yeah.
Sonny.
yeah,
Yeah, she loves helping out,
Aaron's, he's very invested in the church, and so he's doing ministry school, and he's running his business out there in South Carolina where he's at now. So like, I understand he's a very busy man. So I wasn't, it's not like I was too worried that he wasn't responding or like, getting back to me. He would get back to me and tell me pointers, but not really like where to go or what to do. So I was just like, well, Sonny, you got something that could help me out. She sent me to Lisa over at the contractors board. And
Yep. Or
Lisa
the
hooked me up.
contractors exam center.
Yeah,
That's what
exam
it is,
center.
yeah.
Yeah, and
Well, but I mean, with that being said, too, though, you got to make sure you don't lean on people too much. You got to
Yeah.
figure a lot of this shit out on your
Yeah.
own, because there's no one way to do it. You got to find your way to do it, and there are, like it's good to get legal advice and making sure that you got your insurance set up. But a lot of the shit, the bidding process, the understanding of the materials and all that shit, you got to go get your face kicked in a couple times to
Yes.
really
You
for
gotta
that
lose
lesson
to
to
win.
stick.
yeah,
for sure.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, we definitely tried everything we could and like try to figure out stuff, but like the insurance companies we were going through were just like
We started
cheap
with
broker companies that
like
kinda sucked.
online
Right.
insurance, man, like Cover Wallet or
Yeah.
like a Next Insurance type of deal.
I mean, especially if you got a
And-
crew, you need a broker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
how we first started when it was just him and I, and it looked like we had insurance. Was it legit? I'm not sure.
If somebody got hurt, was it going to
yeah,
work?
or if a tree went through a house, it said we were covered, so it's good.
Yeah.
It was affordable, There's ways to get started. Like if you want to do it, it's scary, but there's affordable ways. You start small, find the cheapest routes for insurance, get your licensing as soon as you can, preferably have it from the start. And you're ready to work, dude. You can go to work as soon as you got people want to see it. It's a formality, and you need it. You got to protect others before you're doing really anything. But after that, man, you can start making money.
Mm-hmm.
You can.
Well,
got a
especially-
little pickup truck. You don't even need a truck to get started, dude. You just need your hands.
If you know how to charge, that's the thing. You got to make sure you're
Yeah.
making money while you do it, and that's. I mean, you guys probably did the same way we did it. We underbid the fuck out of the market. We
Yeah.
gouged everything. We were landing everything we were bidding on because we were doing it for free, and it took a lot to figure out. I wish that's something that I could have learned out of the get go, because the services we were providing were worth far more than what we were getting
Yeah.
paid, and people knew that. So of course, there was a line out the door, but we weren't making any fucking money. And it's hard to expand if you're not making money,
Yeah.
right? You gotta
That's
make
what
sure
we were
it's
having a
coming
hard
in.
time with. We were getting so after that first job, it was like, what are we gonna do next? We had another job, and for that first season, we made money. But at the end of the year, it was like, where's all of our money? Yeah.
What the
So-
fuck just
The
happened?
books say that we made money. Where is
Yeah.
it?
Where
Yeah.
are those numbers in our bank account? So the first year we probably cleared like 100, but at the coming into winter we barely had 5, and I was like, wait, what? So like you said, charge what it's worth, or make sure you're in the market to where you're actually covering your expense, but you're putting something back into the business.
Mhm.
So we learned that slowly. I'd say we're here now in year 2.5. We finally figured out how to charge for things the right way. To where now coming into winter, we see some actual numbers in the bank account. So we a little more confidence there.
Yeah, if you're licensed, insured, and bonded, you should not be charging the same as Chuck in a truck. You don't give a fuck, right?
No.
Right.
But when we first start out, that's what we're doing. We're trying to keep up with the
Because
fucking
that's-
handyman.
Yeah, that's what we look like. We
Yeah.
don't embody the Chuck in the truck persona, but that's what we look like.
Totally. I mean, something, that I did notice though, like after our first year, I mean, we didn't have money, but what we did have instead was, we bought a trailer for $3,000 from old boss Aaron with a plate compactor in it, a paver saw, tons of hand tools, concrete tools in case we ever want to get into that. We ended up with a 550 flatbed dually.
This is all after like the first couple jobs.
We got a plow truck on the Ford F-150. I mean, we went and got a GMC 3500, put the plow on that, and so I mean, yeah, we ended up broke, but it's like
that's where all the money went.
If you put everything that we had this money and like you just kind of look at a trailer, 2 trucks, a plow, and a dump trailer, and it's like in a year you're like, holy shit.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're looking at that going, every last bit of that can make me money.
Yeah,
absolutely. You're like, yeah, well, round 2, when's it coming? Let's go. But snow removal is a whole different beast that you got to handle before you can reach next season.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody looks at these dudes who have everything going and like that are already started. Like when I was thinking about getting things going when I was working for that tree contractor, I was like, there's no way I can get all this. I can't have like a boom truck, a chipper, a nice dump trucks, or freaking 10.
Not with that attitude, you can't.
No. You got to start small. Like start with an F-150. That'll lead to something. Land a couple jobs, get it done right, make some money, and then see how you can reinvest that back into what you got going. And that's exactly what we did. Me and him were taking hits. Like where we are now, it would be. If we were greedy dudes and we wanted like all the money we made from all these jobs, yeah, sure, we could probably have like new trucks and all this like whatever, like the fancy stuff for ourselves.
You mean the mistake that often
a lot of dudes
the
make.
image
New
people
business
invest in
owners
the
would make?
image.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, shit, Matt and I, because we were pipeline welders before we started our business, and we kind of used pipeline money to fund us.
Yeah.
We ran out of the same trucks. Dude, I didn't get a new truck for what? The first 5 years, something like that.
wow.
I had a 2001 F-350 with 500,000 miles on it.
Oh
A
yeah.
little 7.3. The thing was a fucking pig, but it
Get
worked.
the job done.
It's what we needed to do, and
And Matt's white dually had 330,000 on it.
yeah.
When he got
At
rid
least
of
you
it.
guys had bigger trucks. We were pulling a 5-yard dump trailer with the F-150 through Lake Tahoe.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
We were trying to get it done, man.
Oh,
Talk
how
about
the fucking
sketchy.
Forest drive out there too.
Oh,
They
man.
just brake check.
You're
the
like,
shit
hey,
out
the
of
brakes
ya.
don't work in this fucking thing.
You better move.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just need a fucking sign on there. It says wide load, even though it's not a wide load. Just be fucking cautious of me.
The sign should have said, "Watch the fuck out."
I look small, but right now I am a big bitch.
A lot of weight back there. Yeah.
That was our with what we saved before. What I saved before the business that I invested to it was the dump trailer. Probably should have been a bigger truck, but that trailer man's made us freaking everything. We
Mhm.
still use the hell out of that thing to this day.
I wish
you
people
know?
understood that how much money you can make with just a fucking dump
with
trailer.
one piece of equipment.
Just
you know?
just a little bit of grit and a fucking dump trailer.
You know what scares people the most is seeing the price of things. Like me being my age and knowing I saved up like a good amount of money, and it took me years to save it up, like 3 or 4 years, and I was living in the house with my grandmother, saving every cent that I had, and I was thinking, okay, well, let's try to start a business. And when I went to go look at dump trailers, it was every penny I saved up, you
Mhm.
know? And I
Yeah.
was like, oh God, am I going to do this right now?
Well, and at that age, you don't really have the option for financing either. You know,
No.
I think that a lot of people, especially the younger guys like yourselves, you did it the right way. You went out and bought used equipment, stuff that you could afford cash on. Because you see a lot of these guys start businesses and everything is on credit, and the interest rates are fucking insane.
It's bad.
Your payments are super high. I mean, we just spent $22,000 on a forklift, and it cost us like $1,500 a month. I mean, it makes us plenty of money, you know, but and that's just a forklift for around the shop.
Yeah.
This doesn't go out into the field.
Yeah.
You know, this is just an off-road forklift for around the shop. So, but that payment, dude, you have to have a certain amount of revenue in order to
cover that one payment. Yeah.
And it's not directly making you money either.
Yeah. So
Yeah, that's true.
how would I put it? Like, I'm not necessarily the smartest person, but I know you start buying expensive stuff and you got a lot to like keep up with. So, buying that trailer, I think we ended up just paying all cash for it, and we just pulled the F-150 with that trailer. Don't do that. If you're hearing this and you're thinking about doing that, don't do that.
At least not 5 yards.
Yeah, maybe one or two.
Like
You
not
can
a
get away with it.
4,000-pound trailer.
Maybe if it was 5 yards of leaves or something, you would have been
Yeah.
okay.
We're doing base and sand.
Oh,
but-
Jesus
On
Mountain roads.
Mountain
Yeah.
roads. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
We're the dudes you hear about in the news,
Yeah.
smashing into people.
little big time
But-
trucking.
Hey, we're young pros, you know. My dad, so he's a log hauler, and he's always like he's been in my ear about like he had me pulling firewood with him in his Jeep. It was a V8, like Grand Cherokee, and he built like a dope little trailer, and we'd do cords of firewood, and that's what he threw me in. And he was yelling at me every like 3 seconds, like swing it wide or like check your mirrors. Like he's anal about checking his mirrors, man. If you're not looking in your mirrors, like every like 10 seconds, there's a problem. And I think that's how we were lucky enough to make it by with the F-150, and that trailer was the stuff he put me through. Major trauma, but hey, I know how to swing a truck and trailer now.
So when you guys were going through, the last 2 or 3 years, what did first part of the question is what was that internal narrative like? And then second part is what was the cross conversation between the two of you going into this as you're making these decisions to continue to reinvest the money? The internal narrative, I mean, it's like, how are you talking yourself into this? What does that confidence sound like internally? What is the plan? And then again, how are you guys communicating that to one another?
I think for me, it was seeing my dad and what he's a hardworking dude, and he's always been like, if you're going to do something, like do it good and try to be successful. And then seeing that combined with, okay, I'm tired of working for other people and making them more money than I'm ever going to make myself. I took those two and I was like, I want to be successful. I want to make something of myself rather than something for somebody else. And that built kind of like a path in my mind of if I make it or break it, and that's it for me. It's either I'm going to do it and I'm going to go all the way, or it's going to hit the fan and I'm not going to do nothing with myself. And that's like a fear right there, being mediocre, and not having something that's great going on in my life,
Yeah, for sure. As we kind of went through the years, and we were kind of, going through these purchases and kind of like looking over everything, you're skeptical about everything. That's just,
I'm still skeptical.
yeah, like I don't even know if we should have just bought the snowblowers today.
I wasn't for like 5 minutes, and it's fucking cost me like a couple $100,000.
Yep.
Yeah. Shit. Yeah. So, as you're going through these purchases, you're definitely skeptical, but like you kind of end up in your head deep in thought, like, all right, so, say for instance, when we were going to buy that 550, we're looking around everywhere on the internet, looking all over the country for a truck that can haul this trailer and something that's, strong enough and reliable enough to last for years, because all these big ass trucks got like 300,000 miles on them. All of us workers just love to kick them to shit and then give them off to the next guy that'll buy them with a 28% APR. But fucking, so you kind of do deep research. If you really want it to go right, you're going to sit there and you're going to ponder it all the time. Be like, all right, well, how's this truck going to compare to that? Do we really want to go to New York and drive back with a fucking diesel truck all the way? How much money is that going to cost in gas? Oh, hey, look, I just found one at Eagle Valley Motors. And it's fucking been sitting there in front of me this whole time. But it's like, I guess what I'm saying is, you're always going to be skeptical, but if you have the plan in mind, like this plow truck is now going to start making me money. I've got these accounts that are going to take care of
the hustle.
the bills. You just got to make sure you have a solid plan in mind. Otherwise, these purchases, they just can't be empty. They can't be empty-minded purchases. They got to be thoughtful. They got to be,
Every move we've made, we've thought about so thoroughly for. I think that's my job, is to stress it. And Chance's job is just to be like, all right, this is what we're going to do.
Well, you guys have completely different energies.
Yeah.
I mean,
What's the energy? What are you picking up?
You're a stressor and he's chill.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think that's the yin
pretty
and yang
obvious.
to
I agree.
our company, man. Like there's not a moment I'm not thinking about, okay, what's the next job? What's the next piece of equipment? And where's our next chunk of change going to come from to keep this ball rolling? And we got a couple jobs under our belt, and I was like, we're buying a truck. Like, this is not going to work out if we don't buy a truck. And we spent pretty much all the money in our bank account for one truck. But that one truck led to...
You were also a menace to society at that point. Like, you were putting other people's lives at risk. So you should probably get that taken care of.
Your insurance policy didn't really know what you
No,
were
they
doing.
had no idea, man. That was just...
They're like,
on
there's
the
no way
insurance
they
policy.
pull that with that. So,
To them, it was just some old lady's truck.
they're like, wow, they really take care
Yeah.
of their grandma. They're
When-
great guys.
That's the goal, though.
What would you guys say has been your largest hurdle so far as like, now that you're established, you're contractors, you're, up and moving, you're getting shit done. What's your biggest current hurdle that you guys have?
What do you think, Chance?
I think that, what kind of happened this year is we ended up pulling in enough jobs because, shout out Wise Buy Magazine. They hooked us up with, they're worth their pennies. Let me just say that. But we put an ad in there, and that really blew us up, and that gave us the opportunity to be able to, take on workers and such. So
That was
as
the biggest thing.
as we went through the season, when the season started coming to an end, like during that time from June when the magazine dropped to, probably beginning of September, we were doing 10 bids a week, like 2 bids a day, and also working 8 to 10 hour days on top of that, not getting home till 7 o'clock at night, and then you want to do whatever you want to do. But kind of as the end of the year
when there's
came,
time to make money.
yeah, as the end of the year came, we kind of got skeptical because of the winter last year, and we kind of were like, well, we're not really going to take on any more jobs, and the jobs also kind of stopped crawling in. So I think because we kind of got kicked off late, and that's kind of how it's been each season. Like, we end up starting late and we end up finishing early. So I'd say next year the goal is, and we already got 4 jobs, 4 potential clients lined up to start the year. So when the snow melts, we're good to go. But I'd say the goal is work a full season from start to finish, because in our 3 seasons that we've done, we haven't worked a full season. Whether we started in May or whether we finished in early September, like, it just kind of ends up happening. People don't call. And
Yeah, I think and this is just me outsider looking in, because we've dealt with this. This year was especially bad for everybody. We're like, the winter fucking killed us. This was
Yeah.
the worst. And when you're in steel, you can't get cranes up, you can't get trucks up, you can't get all the shit you need to where you're at up at Tahoe. But I think that we all thought that when the snow burned off, that it was going to be game on. And that was not the fucking case whatsoever.
Ground is wet and you can't work in
Yeah,
that.
we didn't get started until April or May of this year, and it was still a really slow,
Yeah.
sluggish start. But everybody's prepping for this big winter coming. But the cool part we have is that all that shit that fucked up last year, we have this residual stuff to finish up.
Right.
That is, because we do progress billing, we don't just bill out for the whole job.
right.
So we have all this stuff we can get started on that they're like, hey, we need to get this fucking done so we can turn this house over to the client. So I think you guys will be alleviated on that end a little bit once you have a little more time in the seat, and once you have a little bit bigger projects that need to get buttoned up, you can start moving there and then start going full bore on your new
Yeah.
projects.
To answer that question a little bit more directly, Nate, the hardest thing is getting known and the word of mouth.
True.
That's being a brand new person in a town where there's already contractors, people doing work, and you're the new guy who's 20 and 19 starting projects. Now 22 and 22, right?
Yeah.
We're still like it's a whisper.
What do you feel like you're getting fucking old or something?
I felt old at fucking 16, man. I was like, shit, I'm
You and me
still
both.
here.
Josh was old at 16.
Yeah, I was old at 16.
Curious Cage of
Yeah.
Benjamin's butt or
Yeah,
whatever.
Benjamin
Button.
Button.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, pretty much. I have a question. I've been holding this because this is going to turn to a little bit of I don't know if it's a psychological conversation, but you guys have both talked about working for someone previously and you wanted more. Nathan, you were talking about, you bought your climbing gear and then found out it was going to be 4 years and you were like, nope, fuck that. I want to go do my own thing. And some guys would immediately see that as you're not willing to pay your dues.
Mm-hmm.
So my question is, how would you help someone, Graybeard, if you guys worked for me, how would you help me understand the difference between ambition and entitlement?
If you're willing to jump in the saddle, man, right away and get down on it and show somebody you can probably do it just as good as they are, despite years and experience, then give that dude a shot, because you can. I think it's silly to spend 4 years waiting to make it somewhere that you want to be in when if you think you can do it right now, do it. There's no sense in waiting if 4 years.
I'm curious of what Nate's going to say to this too.
Well, dude, because I did the same fucking thing. I got pulled out of a Chili's and the dude stuck me in a garage with a fucking welder for 6 weeks, 6 months. Was like, figure it the fuck out.
Mm-hmm.
And then just threw me out there and it was sink or swim.
Yeah.
Do or die, But I understand where that question is coming from with Josh, because it's like you'll have a kid show up and kid's got ambition, he wants to fucking rodeo, boom, here's your shot, dude. You want to prove it? Go prove it. Proves it for 1 week and then thinks he's fucking big swinging dick on the yard.
Yeah,
and then
that's a dude you got to send back to the bottom, man. There's some dudes out there. I think I get it from my dad because he was like that. He's always a hot shot, like watch me get this done, but he just doesn't do it for a week or a minute. He'll do it and he still does it, man. And he's falling apart right now. Like he's getting older, and that dude has no chill. And I think in a good way, yeah. I think a select amount of people have that, and those are the people that you let them lock in, and when they lock in, they handle it. And it's from a Graybeard seeing a young dude try and step up and say, "I can handle this. Like, let me in there," It's skeptical because some guys take time. You need to let them age and learn the ropes. But some guys are the opposite and they learn quick. Like me, man, you can throw me something, I'll figure it out in like 30 minutes, maybe an hour, and I'll be on it already. You
want to try welding?
Throw me welder, man. It's just about the drive in it. Are you really driven, or are you just in it for kicks for a short term? Does that answer that question?
I think that there's a level of maturity that has to come along with it.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, you can't just jump in there and fucking rodeo and think you're going to swing with the big dogs. You have to have a mentality that you carry into it to where you're still willing to learn,
yes,
but you're willing to get after it. You can't just show up and just be like, I can do the task, fucking pay me.
Yeah.
Because, dude, there's a lot of shit outside of, like you try and teach somebody one task and they get that task done. And it's like, hey, dude, we have about 10,000 other things that you're going to have to pick up on before you're anywhere near my level, And it's like, we know, like, once you get to our age, not Josh's age, but we're not talking about retirement here, but the things that we've learned and the skills that we've acquired that you don't really need anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But those skills that you learn translate into so many other aspects of what your career is, that not learning those things and taking the time to pick up on them because you don't have to anymore, it's a disadvantage. It really is.
It could cost you your life, especially doing tree work.
Yeah.
Hauling timber or hell, being a landscaper, running equipment or doing anything.
Yeah, you got boulders that fucking roll off the hillsides and shit, take out somebody's multi-million-dollar mansion.
You think you're some hot shot and you're like, oh, watch this, I can do it. That's like the biggest mistake you can make.
Well, but I think that's what those 4 years are. Those 4 years are for you to get your close calls in.
That's true. So I guess I kind of have an advantage over that because for me, I was running like doing saw work and doing forestry work with my dad. So it wasn't like I showed up and one day and was like, oh, I can do this like right now. I had some background in it. If you're like a complete rookie and you're pulling up to the scene like, I can do this. Yeah, no, you need some time in for sure. There's no just going into something saying like all the way I can go to the top. If you're fresh, there's no greenie out there who can do certain things just showing up right off the street.
Yeah.
One of the reasons that I wanted to ask that question is because your reaction to the situation could be viewed as entitlement.
Right.
You're not going to let me do what I want to do, so I'm going to go do something else or do my own thing.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because it's what I love about interviews, Nate, is you get a sense of who people are just by, your guys' posture and how you articulate. There's no ego in this room, and it's really interesting. Well, besides the talent, but if you didn't say that, and if someone didn't know that, it could be misinterpreted, right, as
100%.
entitlement and ego. I appreciate the confidence that you guys have, and the fact that 95% of businesses, startups fail in the first year, and then 90% of the remaining 5% fail in the next 9 years. So you have to be a fucking monster.
Well, and I'm curious because we've used those numbers quite a bit,
Mhm.
and I wonder how those numbers stack up for young men and how those numbers stack up for young men starting into trades. Because I think that number is substantially higher. That because
I would
there is a
believe
lot
so.
of there's a lot of ego. And there's like, I've been working for this guy for 6 months. I already know
Yeah,
what the fuck I'm doing. Fuck
Mhm.
this guy. I'm gonna go start. And it's like, I'd be really curious to see what those numbers jive at instead of just on a national scale.
Yeah.
Like what does it look like in our realm?
Yeah. The other thing too is, I think your approach is the ambition is willing to earn it. The entitlement is thinking you deserve it. Okay. And when you approach those opportunities with ambition and you say, yeah, I'm willing to earn this, but I want to expedite my growth. I want to get in the shit. You've got to have that grit. You want exposure to the experience. The entitlement is that you feel that you deserve it. And when you do get the opportunity, you don't rise to the occasion. And I think that's a good point that, that Nate
Sometimes you
brought
gotta
up.
make your own occasion. You gotta rise up to yourself.
You do put yourself in a situation to prove that, again, back to earn versus deserve,
Mhm.
entitle versus ambition. The other thing to me, one of the best measuring factors for that though, is just grit.
Being tough.
Is absolute grit.
Hey, and you guys got to understand, like we've been through our fair share of them. It's hard to find dudes in their 20s that got any fucking grit to them.
Especially nowadays, man. Everybody's pretty soft and they all want something free or a handout. The guys, we're blessed with the dudes that we found to come work for us. Justin, this dude, you don't even need to tell him what to do and he's already doing it. He makes me look bad. Julian.
No, he makes you look smart.
no, like I'll be standing there like just looking around like, what's going on right now? And this dude's already doing stuff. He doesn't even talk to me half the time or ask me like what's going on. He's already doing something. Julian, this guy, he has no quit. And like I'm like, hey bro, take a break, like relax your back or something, like because he's working so damn hard. And another guy, Owen, we just took him on. He's new. I don't know if he's even ever worked in any type of construction or
with his dad. He did handiwork
some
a little bit, but
okay.
it was like as a child, he just hold the flashlight and
Yeah.
yelled at. So
yeah. And these
Been there.
dudes, they're like 1 in a million. You don't find guys like these no more, to where they show up, they're doing their job. We actually hired this one guy, and he was in his 40s. He would show up, but homie wasn't doing anything. He would stand there and watch Chance and I do freaking everything. And it hit a point. It's weird being 22 firing some dude who's 40. It's really weird.
What a great experience.
No, man, I feel like
But
an asshole. Homie needed a job, and I was like, "You're just not cutting it, dude. Like, what the hell?"
Yeah.
Like,
Well, if he's in his 40s coming to ask you for a job, there's probably something derailed along the way.
Mhm.
But I mean, do you guys think that there's anything? So if you got 3 great guys that you got for you right now, and they're able to jump in and just get after it and get shit done, do you think you guys being the age that you are is making you more attractive to
That's a good question.
hardworking younger age guys?
I just feel like, I just don't know if we're really that well known, like, yeah, the young, well, actually, now that you say that,
I think it does.
it absolutely does
interesting.
around
I
our
like it.
peers. You know what I mean? Like, for instance, like, we got this business going. My cousin Tyler, dude, he's like, our family, we come from like nothing. Me and my cousin Tyler, we had to get it on our own, from children. Like, we didn't have our parents that could help us out like that. So kind of got to be tough. You got to take accountability for yourself, and you got to, lock down. And I saw my cousin Tyler working his ass off, like, day in and day out, taking care of his his two kids, and just, he always had this drive, like, man, I've done every single trade I could think of since I was basically 17 years old, dude. I need to start something. I just, like, it's kind of hard to get the money to do it.
The money's the scary part.
I'd say what kind of really flipped the switch on him was his father passed, and he just, like, boom, like, within a couple weeks, he already went out. He started an LLC. He named it TNT for Tyler and Toby after him and his father. And now he's got his business started up, and, I'm on the phone with him every day just talking about it. And he's already making, like, crazy steps himself. But I will say I respect him very much, because unlike most contractors out here, unlike most contractors out here, he followed, the rules. He's staying within that $1,000 a day limit.
He does, like, he's in
He's
shit.
legit, man. Like,
Yeah.
he's like, you could tell it's been on his mind for a while, and you could tell there's just, like, when you come from nothing and you see everyone around you, they have great family lives. They have, the support of loved ones. You see that, and you can go either one or two ways. You can either go, right in the direction that everybody thinks you're going to go in, because it's what happens. People, it's hard to dig deep and find that within yourself to create something that isn't existent to you, and to imagine, like, this is not what I have experienced, but this is what I want. I don't know how I'm going to get there, but I'm going to do it. And God bless America for, having trades and having the work and allowing us men to perform how we're able to perform, and, be able to prove our worth and be able to make our worth. Because, I mean, shit, without it, a lot of us guys would kind of be shit out of luck. Like, man, what are we going to do?
How did you choose to be a victor over being a victim?
Well, you watch too many victims, and you just, you kind of,
Amen, dude.
I love my mom, but, she, growing up, she was always, like, bitching. I hate to say that, but kind of, I don't mean that in a very rude way. I love my mom, and I respect her very much, even with the stuff that she's done. She just was always complaining and crying and, like, man, dude, like, I'm going through it, but never doing anything about it. And I'm like, I'd sit there like, you're going to the doctors and they're just giving you pills, and you go lay down, you're like, it hurts. I'm like, dude, get up and fucking eat something. Eat something that's good for you. Like, do something that's right for you. And you just kind of, and then, I kind of watch, like, everyone else around my family just kind of not give a shit about anything. Like, oh yeah, I'm just going to get my government money, and, I'm good to go do whatever I want to do for a couple days and live a low life. And it's like, just seeing it and living it, I'm just like, man, that is not a good example. And I really am proud, like, happy to know that, football's a thing, because you got such good characters that you're able to look up to. Like, that really helped me.
You started to say proud, and you should have said that word.
Yeah.
You said happy, but you started to say proud, and you should say proud.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you wholeheartedly that the football programs in this country have saved a lot of kids from going down a lot of shitty paths.
Oh my
that
gosh, yeah,
come
dude.
from these, dude. Because who are the biggest rock stars on the field? The fucking poor kids that have had shit
Hell yeah,
existences.
Ray Lewis, man, he
Yeah.
came from nothing. Like,
Right.
I watched him every day. I was like, shit, if he could do it, I could do it.
Right.
And I mean, even when, What's scary about that though is like, you know, when you kind of don't have anything in your life, and then like something like that sparks in your mind, you're like, oh shit, yeah, let's go. And it can break a lot of kids' hearts. You know what I mean? Like having that goal in mind, and then stupid shit happens, an injury. You know, like you're just not big enough. Stupid shit like that. Now, you know, you put all your hard work into that, because kids will grow up like 5 years old playing football. Like, I'm going to go to the NFL. Only 1% make it, you know, sometimes less than that. And it's like, when that fails,
Something to do with our industry.
you're kind of just like, shit, what do you do? Like, where do you go from there? And it's like, you're either just going to keep trucking along and look for the next opportunity. And when the next opportunity, you execute. You know, when it comes, you execute. But I mean, shit, it's like, it's a dangerous game for sure.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
you gotta be willing.
If I think that the outcomes coming from those programs is that the kids see what hard work does,
Absolutely.
you know, and whether you made it to the top 1% or not, you saw an outcome from the work you put in. And I mean, I coached JV football at Douglas, and like to see those kids start to fucking believe in themselves.
Yeah.
You
know?
currently coach at Douglas?
Yeah.
Do you know Kyle Mays?
Yeah.
Coach Mays?
Yeah, Coach
I wouldn't
Mays.
be in this room without that dude.
No shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Him and his wife, Leslie. I was a shithead when I was in high school, and I was doing football, and I don't know what it is about that dude, but when he talks, you feel it, man.
Yeah.
And
I think,
he
dude,
turned-
I think that's the teacher in him. Like, I think he's
Yeah.
a really good teacher, and it makes him an even better
the
football coach.
teacher, the man, when that whole crew I was with, it seemed like they were taking it in, man. But where all my buddies are now, a few of them, like, I hung on to what he said. Like he always says, like, put somebody's dick in the dirt, bro. Like, don't stop. Like do something, you know. And that's like, that was the show. I was like, motherfucker, you're right. And ever since,
I still quote my football coaches,
Yeah.
Ernie Monfletto and Coach Rippey.
Yeah.
I still quote those guys to this day.
they're great, man.
Yeah.
Coach Monfletto, yeah, he's a good guy. Without those dudes, a lot of my ethic came from being an athlete. Just when you're out there running, man, and just lifting weights, like, you think, oh damn, I could just quit right now. But when you got a guy like that who's telling you, like don't quit. Like, there's no point in quitting. What are you gonna get if you quit? You're gonna get jack shit. And doing this with the company and starting something, it was like, there's been moments where I was like, fuck, bro, we might not make it. But you start pounding the streets and you start looking for jobs.
Oh yeah, man.
Like, you can't quit. And that's the mentality he has. It's the mentality I have. And I think that's, you were asking, is this generation seeing us like attractive in that sense, where we're setting like a standard? And I think some dudes see it. Some dudes still have like that mentality, but nowadays it's not preached. And the places it is preached, being an athlete on the football field, or it's not being talked about no more. Not enough people are bringing up the sense of, do you want to be some indoctrinated, brainwashed kid going to college? College is great, you know, but there's too many kids going for liberal arts degrees, and nobody wants to be like an actual engineer or doctor. Everybody wants these easy ass degrees, and I know that because I was doing that shit. I was going into a field where it was something I did want to do, and I felt passionate about it, but I started, once you get into those, I was into my bachelor's degree for my, I was going to become a licensed clinical social worker so I could do therapy for kids, because I've been through shit, you know, I've had, you know, trauma and stuff, and I wanted to help kids who were in a place that I came from, because people like Kyle Mays, Ernest Monfletto, those guys, they helped me to be on my road to success, and I wanted to do that for people. But I saw, like, in these classes, man, that these kids are in, I shouldn't say kids, young people, like young adults, they're teaching, like, oh, okay, let me help you, hold your hand. What are you feeling like today? And that's not what people need nowadays, man. They need to, like, okay, you got a problem. What are you going to do about it, bro? You know,
Yeah.
like get the
Get
fuck
This,
up.
this
Ass.
consoling people when they're in a bad
Yeah.
spot of like, oh man, it happens to all of
Yeah.
us. It's
You
okay.
can feel that way, dude. It's
Shut
fine.
the
Yeah.
fuck up,
That's,
Let me
dude.
pat
that's
you on
what
your
it
back,
was,
bro.
man. That like got me. It's like growing up, I was the youngest. I'm actually the youngest of 8. You know, my dad is a player, but 6 of them were with one woman. The other 2 were just, you know, I guess maybe on the product of a side chick, whatever. No, but you know, it's like growing up as a youngest, my older cousins and my older brother were always like, "Oh, you always get baby. You always get baby." And I'm like, "Fuck you, dude.
Yeah.
She's doing that shit. I'm not doing it, dude. I'll go fucking." Like I remember we were moving
Kind of pisses
into
you off a little bit.
yeah, we were moving into our apartment in Carson when I was like 12 years old, and I go to pick up one end of the couch, right? And my stepdad and my brother like, "Oh no, you're too small." I was like, "Man, fuck you, dude. I'm gonna pick this fucking couch up,
Watch
dude.
me.
Like, don't treat me
Watch
like
me.
a bitch, dude. I'm a fucking man. I'm capable. I'm gonna do this." Like, and I think like nowadays it's so like okay to just baby people around and like oh
Dude,
you-
there's guys my age that still get fucking babied.
Yeah.
Whether by their girlfriends, wives, or
Yeah.
their mothers, it doesn't matter. There's somebody taking care of them. But the biggest issue at this point is that we're not taught that it's okay to fail. We're taught that it's okay to give up.
Yeah.
yeah
And it's not okay to struggle.
yeah
Mhm. If you're not struggling, you're not winning, man.
Yeah, if you
No,
ain't failing, you ain't fucking winning, dude.
Yeah.
You know how many times a day I just get my ass fucking handed to
Hell
me?
yeah.
I'm here for the 10%. Those couple of fucking wins. They've been non-existent for the last couple months. So
They're coming, man.
yeah.
They're
Gotta
coming.
keep going.
That's interesting.
When-
I mean, sorry, I didn't mean to,
Yeah,
to,
you first. Go ahead.
to cut you off. This is the kind of shit I love, and Nate knows that I'm reveling in this right now because to be able to have the sense of accountability to own your mindset, regardless of your circumstances, regardless of your beliefs, regardless of what you were taught, the moment that you decide to be accountable for how you think and the actions that you take changes everything about your life. Your
Mhm.
entire trajectory shifts.
Amen.
And now that narrative, that internal story just becomes a past chapter. And now you get to rewrite, right? Now you become the hero in your own story and you get to write your
Yep.
story.
Mhm.
Um,
It's those heroes who've figured that out, and now those dudes are saying something to the next generation. Me, I was lucky enough to have one of those dudes. Chance was lucky enough to have some of those dudes. I got blessed with my dad. I don't know where the fuck I'd be without him, or Kyle Mays, or any of those dudes out of that program. Somebody like Sonny, like they're all heroes in my eyes because they're not here for themselves, and they didn't take the easy route. So they have something to talk about and preach and say, hey man, like, yeah, like strap up your boots and keep going. Like you got it. Just keep your head down and keep working. Nowadays, there's none of that, man. It's all, okay, well, go to college, get a degree in something that you feel like passionate about. Yeah, which is cool and all. But most of the kids in college are there just to party, drink, and do some stupid shit. And like, don't get me wrong, like I was there doing that too, but it hit a point where I like to go out now and look at people like, okay, yeah, I'm not going to be like these people. Like I'll go to concerts and shit and I'm like, what the fuck is going on here, dude? Because I like to have a good time. Like, don't get me wrong. Like you need to de-stress doing the stuff we do because day in, day out, me and him are thinking, okay, what do we need to do next? It's not just him and I now. We got 3 dudes that we need to keep working so they can make money to pay their rents, pay their bills. And then at the same time, we got bills we need to pay to keep the company going, keep ourselves going. But if you don't take time for yourself, man, what the fuck's the point of everything? You know, what are you working so hard for? And
yeah.
but you can't get caught up in the good times because not all times are good. And if you're only looking for a good time all the time, then you're not gonna be living for nothing.
Yeah, like speaking upon like you said, good times, man. I mean, our first winter, dude, what a shit show. Like before winter even started, you know, I had bought a 4Runner when I was doing carpentry. Who doesn't love a 94 4Runner with 300,000 miles on it and a C-clamp to hold the engine down? But, you know, that thing still it still ran. One time I was actually going down Tahoe, you know, just kind of sidetrack. I was coming down from work from Tahoe and I went to go throw it in neutral so that, you know, my gas is empty. I fucked up and put it in fucking reverse, and it fucking the fucking tires just start skidding. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? I look down, I realize it's in reverse. I pop it back into neutral and like kept this wheel straight.
The
I
fact
fucking-
that the fact that those old Toyotas will let you
Will
do
do
that.
that,
Yeah,
right.
that says something.
I mean, the
man.
car shut off. I mean, and the wheels locked up, but I threw that shit in neutral. I fucking turned it back on. I just kept driving, and it didn't even fucking, not even a dent. Didn't even seem like it was hurt.
Did you have a 22 RE in it?
Oh, I don't even know, honestly.
Bulletproof motor.
Bulletproof motor.
Yeah.
Yeah. As
Probably
much as I
not,
hate,
dude.
I've been a Jeep guy my whole life.
Hell
As much
yeah.
as I hate on Toyotas, that motor, I'm like, that thing, that's a fucking, that's a soldier.
I don't
motor.
think it was bulletproof or nothing. It's just a Forerunner. You know, it's not like you can work on it. That's why there's a C clamp holding the engine. You need a little Asian man in there to get your work done. But I mean, you know, towards the end of the winter that year, my cousin Toby, he was getting out of jail, right? And well, prison, I should say. And I was like, hey, man, I'm going to help you out, dude. Because he, you know, a lot of those guys getting out of the cell, they're like, they talk big, like, oh, yeah, I want to work. I want to do this. I want to do that. And I'm like, great. Yeah, man. I'll hook you up and I'll let you, I'll let you get my Forerunner. And, you know, you can do what you will with it. You need to get to work and shit like that. So here's a very reliable ass car, man. I threw it in reverse, I know. But
Almost broke it. Here you go. Take
he
it.
you know, he ended up just fucking selling it like a dumbass. And so I got my Honda Accord left, and one night I went to go pick up my girlfriend. My fucking car lit on fire, and the fucking O'Reilly sold me a fucked up starter, and my whole shit lit on fire. And then when I got it fixed, the brakes went out on me because when they my cousin drove it down to freaking Vegas for a court date, brought it back up, and then, you know, late at night he got pulled over and he don't got a license, so they impound my vehicle. And I go pick it up from the fucking impound, and I was like, all right, well, I can't drive back home. I'm just going to have someone tow it. I got AAA to tow it. AAA fucking broke my brakes, and I'm just like, dude, I can't keep fucking fixing this car, dude. I bought this shit for $300. I'm like 2,000 deep. I got to quit. I sold that thing. Next, we're like, you know, I'm like, fuck yeah, dude, it's done. We're going to go buy me a new car. And like, you know, Nate's like, dude, you need a car. Let's go get you
I
one.
remember this.
And I'm like, fuck yeah, dude, let's go. We go to this lot down in town, and they were selling a Chrysler 300, and I thought those cars were just beautiful. I don't know shit about them at the time, but I'm like, that is a sexy car.
You know how we talked about making that one purchase that every company does? This was that purchase.
so we,
Sounds like a landscaper would drive that.
yeah.
yeah, I'm like,
I used to have
yeah.
one.
Did you?
Yep.
They're pretty pimp, man.
Yeah.
PIMP.
Very nice, very nice. It is a great value brand of a Wraith, but you know, it's all good. Winter's coming
Stupidest
to an
decision
end,
ever.
dude, and we got like $600 fucking bucks, and I'm like, well, fuck it.
I don't
Let's
know.
sell
what we
my
were
fucking
thinking.
brand new car. Fucking, we bought it for $9,000, sold it for $6,500, and took the loss on it. But that was just because, like, we didn't do that. We got no money. The business fails. Insurance getting taken out in a couple weeks, man. Like, we're low on budget. We need this $6K just to get us, you know, to the next fucking week.
I
type
think
of
we
deal.
used
Like,
that to buy a plow too. So we were back down to like $200 in the account. This is like our first year. Like it was the most stressful year ever, man. And
Hey, you guys got to realize something here. Hold on. Not only is this starting a business, what that looks like, this is just what a fucking fighting age male's 20s look like.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
You know, like your 20, like, dude, my 20s was so full of fucking beater ass cars and dumb decisions
Yeah.
and trying to have the best faith in people and it not panning out. It fucks you every time.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
no good deed goes unpunished. So it's like, at least you guys are getting a bunch of this shit out of the way
Oh, my
all at the same time while it's manageable, you know.
And our mistakes weren't as big as some people's mistakes. We were able to recover, thankfully.
Well,
Like,
you
it
go to
wasn't
prison, so you got that going.
that.
That's true. That's
Um,
true. Yeah, but I mean, that was just one of those experiences where you're talking about, you know, in the first year, most businesses will end up failing.
It's because of stupid shit like what we were about to do.
Now,
And
you
that's-
said in
we
the
learned quick
next
from that.
9 years they might fail too, so fuck.
We still got right.
But no, I'm confident, you know, for sure. I think we got where we're at right now, and you know, with what's to come, I think we're, as long as we stay on top of it and we don't lose self-control at all, I think we'll end up we'll end up in the big leagues.
Everybody who like starts to make it big, they want to be like, "Oh, I did this myself, man!" Like, woo. It's maybe like a few of them, but there's not.
Gotta stay humble.
I've never met a self-made man. Never once.
Everybody's always had someone.
I know some big swinging dicks, and you know what they did?
Mhm.
They fucking learned from everybody else.
Yeah.
They got that's why people listen to this podcast. It's compressing decades of fucking strife and pain and failure.
Putting it into
Make it to where you can take care of it in 2 years.
Mhm.
yeah.
If you learn the lessons, you read, see all these books that are on the shelf over here.
I was
Fucking
looking at
read
that.
half of those things, dude, and it completely changes your outlook on shit. You know,
Right.
I'm doing Atomic Habits right now, dude, and there's like just some fucking gold in that book. You know, and
Brilliant book.
dude, if you guys are out, working, you're out running equipment, you guys should have a fucking headphone in and listening to one of these books on tape, dude. It's so easy to do that there's zero fucking excuse not to do it.
Right.
And there's little bits. You're not gonna take that whole book in and go, yep, I know how to create great habits. You're gonna take the shit out that's applicable to you, and you're gonna apply it to your life, and you're gonna see these huge changes in the way things go. And I strayed away from it, dude. I didn't read a book for like 2 fucking years. Now I got 3 of them going on at the same time, which is not good for my ADHD.
Dude,
But-
I got that bad.
Oh, shit.
Which is Profit First. I recommended that book 3-4 years ago.
Yeah.
And he's just
I'm really good at
reading
listening.
it now.
Yeah. Atomic Habits, motorcycle maintenance, and the art, or the Zen and the art of motorcycle maintenance. That one's more of a fun read for me.
Mhm.
And then Atomic Habits. So
Atomic Habits and then Profit First.
And Profit First,
Knowledge
yeah.
is
Yeah.
power, man.
it is.
Applied knowledge is
Applied
power.
knowledge is power.
Applied knowledge. What do you mean by that? Applied knowledge.
Well, I'll tell you a quick story to emphasize that.
Enlighten me.
My early years in the HVAC industry as a maintenance technician, I ended up going to this town that was near my hometown, but where our office was, and it was in a trailer park. And I go into this older single wide trailer. This older heavy set man has probably 6 cats. Everything's covered in cat hair. He's completely embodied his circumstance and proceeded to tell me that he was just finishing his doctorate.
Whoa. In
So-
what? Cat care?
So he had knowledge, but not applied knowledge.
I hear you.
So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you
know.
know. It's what you do with what you know.
Yeah. And that's what me and him have been utilizing. So, like,
Cats?
I'm allergic.
Absolutely.
It's not like I come from nothing. Like, I didn't figure out how to run a business in a day, you know? My dad and his dad, they were running a logging outfit, and they were doing successful, but they made mistakes and financial mistakes. And some things happen in the family, you know, things fall apart. Some things aren't always your fault, and, you know, you just got to let those go. But because of little mistakes, their whole thing blew up, and they were doing great for themselves. But because of these little mistakes, everything fell apart. And that's where business gets super scary and stressful, is because, like, today we spent like $5,000 on snow blowers and ice melt, and it's like, whoa, is that $5,000 like gonna make us miss out here in like 4 months when we're covered in snow? How are we gonna be looking? Or when we bought our first truck, our actual truck and trailer, it's like, whoa, is this like gonna put us in a hole? We're gonna be able to make this payment in like the next month. Everything's got to be calculated, and the stress of the calculations, it builds up. But when you see stuff pan out and you're paying attention to the little mistakes and making sure they don't happen,
How often do those things pan out the way you planned them originally?
not so often.
That's the point.
It's
That's
the
point.
idea.
That's the
There you-
point. It's the ability to
Yeah.
adapt. Like,
Mhm.
sometimes you got to put your back against the
Yeah.
wall and learn how to claw your way out. And
Mhm.
the ability to do that will take you so much further than being able to plan properly.
Just
I-
committing, man.
Yeah.
It's like,
Hey, this is where we're at.
yeah,
Fuck it.
it's like playing what's it, arrow roulette, launching an arrow into the sky and seeing where it lands.
Oh yeah,
Hopefully.
let's do that.
Yeah. Hopefully it lands where you want it to land, man, and hopefully it doesn't come back and whack you.
Mhm. I mean, like you
That's-
said with the small stuff. That you knew Ernie Monfletto.
Yeah.
He's the one
The
that
little
would tell,
things, man.
take care of the little things,
Take
and the
care of the
big
little
things will
things.
take care of themselves. The minor adjustments are where it's at.
Yeah.
As you guys are experiencing growth in the business, you're learning the comment about knowledge and applied knowledge is power. I have this belief that you don't outgrow people. You outgrow the version of yourself that's connected to those people.
I've cut off so many people from
Okay, which is my question. And my question is, how are you guys managing outgrowing that version of yourself that's connected to those people that hold you back?
I got a toxic trait where I'll just cut people off, man. Like there are some, like my best buddies are on my football team, and some of those dudes, man, like it. I don't know how it happened or when it happened, but it hit a point where I was like, no, and I just like you see what's happening, and you're like, do you want that to be me? And some people, they have the wits about them to say no and cut their ties and just buckle down for the ride, man, because it's whether it's lonely at the top, it's lonely if you make it lonely. That's for sure. You can find people who are in that same boat as you, and you could rope them in and bring them along. Like my guys, Justin, Julian, and Owen, solid dudes. Like you don't need, I don't need to question them or anything. But the people I had in my life before, the influences they were putting on me, the choices I was making, it was going to be the death of me for sure, man. Or not my death, but my downfall for sure. And I would be just some other average Joe, just partying every weekend, living his life for a Saturday, and then going back on a Monday, like just caught up in what is that? Just the average, just the average bullshit, man.
The distraction.
The distraction.
Caught up in the distraction.
Amen. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I saw that happening. I was like, hell no. There's way more in this than Monday through Friday, turning up on a Saturday, regretting it on a Sunday, and repeat on a Monday, man. Mm-hmm. And I'll do everything in my power.
The trick is to just stay drunk the whole time.
Yeah. Amen. Make every day a Saturday.
Yeah. Chance, I'm interested in your response.
All right. So for me, growing up, I've always, definitely valued family, and I valued unity with, my fellow people for sure. And having the bond of family is very important to me. So, growing up, I always wanted to hang out with my brother. Love that guy. Older brother's the shit. When you're like 4 years old, you're like, dude, he can fucking jump high. He can run fast. I want to hang out with my brother.
He's your hero.
Yeah, you're like, that's the guy. But, I kind of needed a new friend. And my buddy Devin lived down the street. When I was 4 years old, my brother walked me over to his house, and I met him. And growing up with him, his mom kind of was in the system, as was my mom. And, they had their bad decisions and everything like that. So, that is kind of a way that we kind of bonded with each other. We were like, dude, we come from nothing. Like, let's make something out of ourselves, And I, as we kind of grew older, sometimes we'd go months without speaking, and you can kind of see like our friendship just kind of fading away. But it always just come back, like, and we'd always be like, hey, man, what's up? Like, what happened? We'd get real with each other. But, in recent history, he's kind of like going down the wrong path, like a lot of these guys our age.
They're caught up in this.
This is explicit, so I'm going to say it. Like a lot of these guys our age are hooked up on cocaine and, taking pills in the party life. And sad to say it, yeah, it's just kind of what happens
the hype,
sometimes.
Man.
And I kind of, I lost my best friend in Devin, along the way, because I wanted to do this with him. And you kind of, you'll, with people that you love, when you really can see something in them. Like for me, I would always like see, like, there's something there. There's something better. We can make something with what we got. It was always like that. Like, we can do something with this. There's got to be a will. There's got to be a way. Let's do it. But you can kind of see him not want to do that. And when people, you can only do so much for a person. You can only give them so much right in front of their face and be like, yo, man, do something with it. Like you said, applied knowledge, it's like, what are you going to do with what you got? But you know, so I've lost ties with my best friend Devin. When I was 13, we were getting evicted from my apartments, and my brother went and stayed with his friends. You know, they took him in willingly. My mom, she was gonna go stay with, you know, her people that do bad shit. So I was like, yeah, what the fuck am I gonna do? You know, like I asked my brother, like, hey, can I go with your friends? They were like, no, we don't got a room. I was like, all right, well, what are you gonna do? You know, shit. It's like, so I kind of went and slept at the football field for a month, and you know, I lived there, and I got taken in by a new family. So it's like when you get taken in, but the people who took me in were people I never expected. It was my friend Dez. When we were kids, I had really long hair, like down to my back, dude, and people would confuse me for Dez, and you know, vice versa. Be like, Destiny. I'm like, I'm a dude. They're like, Chan. She's like, hey, I'm a girl. You know, it's like, you know, it's some funny shit. But they ended up taking me in because one day they texted me. They're like, hey, you know, let's have a sleepover. Like, how come we never get to sleep over at Chance's house? I was like, I fucking live at the field, dude. You guys can come sleep in a box with me if you want. And they, you know, they took that joke more literally than I thought they would. And the next day at school, they're like, yo, man, what's going on? I was like, you know, you get real with them. You tell them, yeah, well, I'm going through it. And so they offered me a place to stay. But before they offered me a place to stay, they offered me to go on a trip with them to Idaho. And it was with the Bassa family. I don't know if you guys know Terry or Erica Bassa. They're good people. They're pretty well-known locals in the area. You know, they take, I don't think they do it anymore, but back when I was in high school, starting from when I was even before in high school, they would take 15 to 20 kids on a trip to Idaho on their grandparents' farm out there. And it's also like one of the tallest peaks on their farm out there. And you got a whole week there. So throughout this week, they give you like all these cool activities to do, but it's not like a camp where it's like, you know, structural and it's like, we're doing this. Everybody grab your helmets. It's like, no,
farm
man.
living type shit.
Yeah, it's like, dude, let's go fucking jump off the side of the cliff into the river. But on the last day, they take you on this mountain. You hike up the back end of it. It's 10,000 feet tall, and it's all slate rock. And when you get to the top, you start going down this real narrow peak and this real narrow like ridge, you know, and you're just kind of walking down it. You're looking side by side. Like when you're looking at it from the bottom, it looks very not steep. When you're up there on the top, you're like, I take one step that way, I'm going to tumble the fuck down. So we get to the edge and they're like, well, we got to slide down this. We're not walking down the hiking trail. Like we're sliding down the face of it. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like I have never even been on top of a mountain before. Like as a kid, yeah, you know, I've hiked around hills, but 10,000 feet up, I'm sliding down the face of it. Like, all right, let's do it. So we started going. We got down to the bottom, and I was definitely the first one down, you know, me and my buddies. Fun fact though, while we were going, I accidentally tripped up and actually like did a front flip in the middle of the air. Landed back on my feet with like all four of us in a line, and I'm sliding. You can hear all my buddies like, oh shit, dude, what just happened? I'm like, I don't even know, man. I'm alive. It's all good. But after that, you know, my family, Emily ended up taking me in. Emily is Destiny's mom. I consider her my mother, you know, as much as my real mother. And I love my real mother a lot, but I love Emily a lot too. And her husband Thor, he's a great man. He's taught me a lot, man. He's great. But, you know, kind of like going through life, I was adapting from, you know, as a kid, you're with grandma and grandma. I got my brothers around. It's like totally family oriented. But as time went by, like things just kept getting taken from me, you know, and it's like you either fold and you sit down like a little bitch and you fucking take it, or you do something about it. But, you know, I can't act like it was all on me, because if they didn't take me in, like where would I have been? You know, like as an ambitious man, you know, it doesn't always mean that you'll do good. And it's like, if you only know the bad, sometimes when you think like, oh, I can make something with this, that mindset, could also mean like I could make something out of the bad. Like you could end up being a drug dealer. A lot of dudes think they can make a shit ton of money off drug dealing. There's stuff like that. So it's like, I'd say without Emily and Thor and that guidance, you know, the life's kind of a trip to me sometimes, because some of the shit that's happened, I'm just like blown away by, because everything could be down here and then like someone will step in and it's like different. But I'd say adapting along the way, even if it's not as intense as, you know, my experiences was, I'd say everyone's going to end up running into the situation where you either lose your best friend, you know, you lose some family members, you lose whatever. But if you, I guess, I don't know, I'm not really sure what I'm trying to say. There's always going to be someone that's going to be there for you. And, you know, there's always going to be new people that will come into your life. But it's like, you should only try to be around the people that you want to be around, you know. And that's the hard part about that statement, is sometimes the people you want to be around is different than, like, there's two different meanings to that. The people you want to be around, such as like family, you know, but they might be doing wrong. And the people you really want to be around is like successful people. Like, you know, I was just listening to the podcast, The Agreement, and like listening to that was some real shit. It spoke to the heart, absolutely. So it's like, you know, I think coming from a rough past, you got to understand the difference between the people you want to be with and the people you want to be with, if that makes sense.
It does.
A lot of it's just paying attention too, because you can see all these people making choices and you're living your life too at the same time making your own choices. Are you going to make the same choices they did, or are you going to do something different and hopefully turn into something awesome?
Another thing I want to say is, like, with these kind of hardships and with these kind of experiences, you know, when it comes to moments of like, a lot of people have a hard time talking about this kind of stuff, you know, and it is very tough to talk about. But I feel like if you can't have the recognition of what has gone wrong in your life, you can't have the recognition of what needs to go right.
Amen.
You know?
So that was good.
Yeah. Mic drop.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, I love the people who were screwing up in my life, just who were making those bad choices. Like, it sucks for them, man, but I'm somebody who's pretty observant, and like, I preach that to people, like, pay attention to what's going on around you, because it might be something as little as like every weekend choosing to go party, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, sure, it's cool like once in a while, man, but if you're doing that every weekend and that's the only thing you look forward to, there's so much more better stuff to do with your life than that one night out. And it's hard to see that when you're caught up in all that, and everybody's caught up in that right now. It's, oh, I can drink more, oh, I can be the loudest, or
I got y'all beat. Don't worry.
yeah. It's cool when you got the gray hairs, man. And it's cool when you get older too. Like, yeah, like you've lived your years and like have a good time. But when you're young, dude, there's no time to screw around, because you're either gonna end up working into your 50s for somebody else, like, and with no cushion to fall back on. Like, right now, the economy is so screwed. You go into Walmart, you see people in like their 80s, like back in there working, dude.
Mm-hmm. Social Security ain't get you anywhere.
No. And I don't want to get political, man, but shit's so screwed right now. And these kids, like, who are just living for the weekend, like, they don't see nothing but a party all the time. And that's what's wrong with everybody nowadays.
Yeah. Well, they don't see the giant falling, the giant that is America, you know? They don't.
Yeah.
They don't realize that without their contribution, this fucking thing goes under.
And nobody. What generation do you guys think was the last generation to see, okay, if I don't do something, then there's going to be nothing? Because this generation now, they don't see that. They don't see like, oh, I'm not doing nothing myself. Who cares? I'm having a great fucking time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, they can all go, you know, they can go do TikTok or OnlyFans or something that's not contributing to pics,
yeah.
It's something that's not contributing. Yeah. It's not contributing to society, but it's also not affecting them. They're making more money than they ever could have going to work.
And
And-
good for them. They found an outlet or some place to find a revenue.
Yeah, I'm just wondering who the
But-
fuck is paying him. It's like, what the?
Who? Yeah, where's
fuck?
all that
Yeah,
money
yeah.
coming
Kidding,
from, bro?
Yeah.
Like they're making millions of dollars doing stupid ass dances for 6 seconds,
Mhm.
and we're out here.
Propaganda.
Propaganda,
Yeah.
yeah, propaganda, bro.
Somebody's got to feed the machine.
Indoctrination.
Yeah.
These
I'm the
kids
machine.
don't understand. It's work ethic. There's no work ethic anymore in schools. Right now, it's sad. It's
Yeah.
just horrible.
Well,
to
hey,
see.
that's the way it's gone. Fuck the
Mhm.
nuclear family. Fuck,
Mhm.
fuck support of one
Mhm.
another. It's
You do
subscribe
you,
to
man.
what we
Yeah.
do, or we're gonna cancel
Yeah.
your ass.
And
So,
the worst part about all this is the family is being torn apart entirely.
because of it.
You have these. I had a good friend who had this like idea of, okay, once I turn 18 or 19 and I graduate, I'm gonna move out. I'm gonna go to college. I'm gonna get away from my family. I'm gonna try to get a degree in something and make all this money, and I'll be successful. Kids are moving out of the homes, going to college, getting in debt. They're away from their family. They have no support.
Irreversible debt, also.
Irreversible debt. We have a friend. She's like 500 grand in debt.
Jesus.
Yeah, dude, it's
Some
fucking.
people just don't fucking know when to
They
fucking
don't know
throw
when
the
to stop.
towel in.
She's going to
Jesus
be a
Christ.
doctor, but it's brainwashing thing. Like, yeah, I get there, but we need them, but and we love them. Like, thank you. But at the same time, there's these other people that are just getting so caught up into this. I'm gonna go on my own like lone wolf route, and I'm gonna be like some top dog, and it's just all wrong. Like, you're losing your number one support, your family. You're giving the government a shit ton of money out of your own pocket. You're signing your life away to them, and then you're getting a job in a field that's so. Hey, bub. Sorry, that's so. It's just a
Saturated.
cesspit, saturated,
Mhm.
where you're making the same amount as all the other millions of people in the same job that you thought was so unique. That's what I saw happening with my degree. I was into my bachelor's to become a therapist, and I was like, wait a minute, dude. I'm going to get my degree, and I'm going to probably be barely clearing 40 or 50 grand a year.
Mhm.
I was like, that's a fucking joke.
Then you got some dude out there running a piece of equipment that's making
Yeah.
150.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, you know what? Fuck this, dude. Like, don't get me wrong. I still want to help people, but I want to help people the way Kyle Mays or Ernest Monfiletto or Mama M and Thor were, man. It's not sitting them down and be like, oh, okay, little buddy, let me hold your hand through this. It's, what are you going to do, bro?
You impact people through action.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's kind of a, like, I'm
Absolutely.
selfish in the sense that I'll put my success first just so I can get to the top, bro.
Wait till you
We've
guys listen to tomorrow's
Yeah.
GSD.
Yeah.
Just so I can get to the top, so I can pass it forward to the next
Yeah.
dude. And that's like every day, dude. And
Hey,
it's
you gotta take care of yourself before you
You-
can
yeah.
take care of other people.
put on your mask before
You-
somebody else's, bro.
You
Like,
have to live unapologetically.
Amen. And
Yeah.
like, dude, I'll start preaching this shit to people my age.
Mhm.
Like, I remember going out to parties. They're like, "Yeah, dude. Like, what about like doing this or something?" And it's like they get fed up over it. And like, it's the shit I want to talk about. Like, when I talk about stuff, I want to talk about work.
What?
What,
Nate?
Yeah.
was that, Josh?
What's that?
You guys brought your little mini me along or what?
It's either work, man, fucking rock climbing, mountain biking, or doing some cool ass shit. Not how much booze I was drinking last weekend or like some stupid shit. And
Well, what? Let me ask you a question because we're gonna push to wrap this up, and I want your guys' closing thoughts. But what does 2024 look like for you guys?
company wise or personally?
Both.
Okay. I'm excited for 24. Yeah. Like super excited.
Yeah. Did you see him light up just then? He's like whole fucking
I'm
body
just-
language
I'm
changed.
Man, this summer, we blew up to it's me a little choked up, dude, because we started with like 12 grand in our account and we
Mm.
spent all that money and it was like, oh fuck, what are we gonna do? We turned that into like close to like $500,000 in like 2 years or 3 years, dude, and it blew my fucking mind.
Mhm.
And this year was so big for us, and like Chance will preach to this too, man. I never in my life thought, coming from where I'd come from, that we'd be doing what we're doing right now. And I think in 24, it's going to be like tenfold. We were able to bring on a crew of 3 dudes. We were able to tear it up this season. We were tearing it up with just 2 dudes, man.
Mhm.
Like day in, day out. And now we got a pack of like straight animals who, like, I told them, like, if we're going to be the top 1%, dude, you guys are coming with us. And whatever you guys want, you just like tell me, you tell a chance, we're going to make it happen for all of us. And the thing that I'm so ecstatic about is I'm not just doing it for myself. It's these dudes are going to make something out of what they're doing, and they're doing it with us. And like, they're happy to be there like every day. It's like they see what we're doing and they get excited about it. So there's kids out there, young men young women too, who are still like
Trades ladies.
who still get a little bit fired up, like, you know what, man, yeah, I can, this is big, like let's do something, rather than just taking a normal route that everybody else is doing. And that's just business wise. Like, personally, man, like, I get happy doing what I do, like my hobbies and stuff, but nothing makes me more happy than working and running something and seeing it grow. And not just for myself, but for the dudes who are a part of it. Mm-hmm. Especially him, because he's been through shit. I've been through shit. Yeah. Seeing this kid make money and be happy, that's pretty big.
Yeah, I'd say, sorry. So for 2024, I just got to get this off my head, though, because I thought about this when you asked me that. I was kind of getting carried away. It gets emotional when you think about an upbringing, of course, but the advice I want to give on like people as they lose people in their lives and as obstacles come to them, the one thing that'll keep you going is sticking to the roots, man, and sticking to that core that's inside of you. Mm-hmm. That's just what I was thinking of, because I really, once I kind of went on a venture of understanding my ancestry and, just having that core, it's just nice. But anyways, for 2024 season, I got full confidence we're going to kick some fucking ass. But, I'm just pumped because, like, as winter comes, this is the first time we're not up shit creek when winter's arriving. Like, we haven't even had over 10K in revenue as winter has come, and this is the first season we do. And it's like, fuck yeah, dude. But it's crazy because you would think when you hire people, you're actually going to make less money, and they make you a shit ton of more money if they're the right kind of people, and if you're able to understand that they need to be the right kind of people and understand their position and everything. But I'd say for, 2024, just because from, I'd say June, not even June, because we didn't even have guys in June, really. I'd say from July to September, we were able to pull in, like 200 to 250. But if we're starting off early next year, man, I want to be able to like double or triple that, and be able to enter next winter. Like, yeah, dude, we're really comfortable.
You boys like Mexico?
Hell yeah,
that's
man.
the kind of boss we're trying to be, man. We pay our dudes good, and like we cut them. What is it?
We give them
profit
bonuses,
bonuses,
like profit sharing.
Yeah,
profit
if
sharing,
they finish early.
Yeah.
Well,
and we kick
sure.
it back to them, man, as hard as we can, because we were there. Not too long ago, we were there making $15, $18 an hour to work like a bunch of freaking apes, dude. Just like go out there and grind, and I'm gonna sit pretty here on my work truck, and that shit pissed me off, dude. Like, when I'm working and like Jay's doing more than me, I'm like, hey motherfucker, what are you doing? There was one time he's like, let me see your shovel. I'm like, yeah, take it, bro, let's go. And when you got people that, like, every dude's gonna seem like all big and badass or something, but like a real man's man, they got a big heart, dude. And when you're like that, you can take over the world. When you got people who you love and they love you back, dude, there's nothing that's going to stop you. Yep. Spreading love.
Yep.
2024 is the year of execution, man.
Yeah.
That's what I'm gonna say.
I like to hear that shit. I'd be excited to get you guys back in here just to see where you landed.
Yeah. Then we can, talk about some more fun shit.
Yeah.
What's interesting is, before we turned the mics on, Nate said, hey, you got a direction for this conversation? I said, no, because I always like to get a feel. And you never know where it's going to go, but that's why we have the authenticity that we do. Mm-hmm. Because this shit is real, and people do experience things. Business is hard. and you have to have that
Oh.
grit and that consistency.
Hard's an understatement.
Absolutely. But if you don't have that discipline and that grit in your bones
Mhm.
to get up and do it every
I think
day.
support too. You gotta throw support in that mix, man. If you don't
I
got the
agree.
right people behind you, like
Well, one of the mistakes that business owners make is they ostracize themselves, right? They feel like they're on this island and that nobody else is experiencing this. So the narrative changes that they are alone.
it's lonely at the top, only if you make it that
Yeah,
way.
exactly. But I am forever grateful that you guys decided to come in here and share your story.
We're
Eh,
grateful to be here for sure.
Well, yeah,
It means a
I
lot.
appreciate that. I know you guys added a shit ton of value to me
Mhm.
tonight
Yeah.
and to Nate and to our listeners. So it's
Mhm.
awesome to get to meet you guys. And man, as Nate said, I'm excited when we do this again in a year, October 24, where you guys are at. And we'll talk about more fun shit, right? We've got the background laid out.
You guys are gonna have
You know?
all sorts of new problems to tell us about,
Absolutely.
though. Trust
Oh,
me.
yeah. It's just the start.
Yeah. But around the table, guys, closing thoughts.
If you're out there and you're thinking about doing something and you have the know-how and some balls, fucking do it. Like don't hold back. I was sitting there for maybe 4 months plotting this whole business and this whole plan, and I don't know what it was holding me back, fear or just second guessing. Pull the trigger, dude. Send it. You're never going to amount to nothing if you sit there and just think all the time. Execute. Yeah.
Yeah, execute. I guess my final thoughts on this would be, as you kind of listen to our story, just take into account that, like who we are, what we've come from, and what we're going to be, and compare that, kind of don't necessarily compare in the sense of like someone's better than you or someone's worse than you, but compare that to your situation and think about yourself like, what can I do with what I got around me? And I don't know, stay ambitious, man. Shout out Mama M.
Stay dangerous.
There may be hope for these little fuckers yet, man. I don't know.
We've reinstilled some hope. Hey, if anybody wanted to check you guys out, do you guys have social media?
Yeah, we're on Facebook. It's Sierra Timberscape.
Okay.
We got Instagram. That's Sierra Timberscape.
Okay.
Gmail, Sierra Timberscape. No.
Yeah.
gmail.com.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know the
Yeah.
feeling.
They're doing your rundown right before you.
Yeah. Please check us out on Facebook
Yeah.
though, and drop a like, give us a share or something.
Cool.
It'll help us out a whole lot.
Awesome.
Call us for landscaping.
Well, you guys are awesome, and I appreciate it. Mr. Newton, ready to be done?
Yep.
Okay.
It's fucking almost 8 o'clock.
Yeah, man.
Fucking bedtime, dude.
Yeah, we're grinding it out. Well, you can find Nate on Instagram at Nate Newton87. I am on Instagram at The Tradesman Experience. Email is thetradesmanexperience@gmail.com. Website's thetradesmanexperience.com. And the YouTube channel is The Tradesman Experience. Thank you so much for spending this time with us. Get out there, get shit done. Be proud to be a tradesman. See ya.